for a piece of the worst opening statement I ever gave in my life. It's of course the latter. I was in the district attorney's office for 6 years with a lot of faces that I see out in the audience tonight. I will say that my good stories, if they're good, all ended abruptly when I left the DA's office. So if anyone here is in government service at $100 a ticket, probably not too many. But if you are, stay in government service, at least for the stories. Is Park Lydon here? Did he make it? This was a guy, I supervised in the BMC for a while. And Park was a guy, it was a tribute to the office. I wish I had maybe 10% of Park's spirit. I think he'd been there about a week, and this sort of talks to the amount of training you get as an assistant DA. I was walking down the hall, and someone came up to me and said, who's the lunatic in the first session? I was the supervisor, I had no idea. Now, if you do criminal work, you know you're entitled to a police report at the arraignment, right? Okay, that seems easy enough. I walk in, Park's giving nobody police reports, and all the defense attorneys look a little perturbed. So I said to Park, I said, hey, man, you giving them copies? And his answer, I can swear, right? Okay. His answer was, why? They don't sign my fucking check. I told him a little about the rules, which everyone that works with me now knows I don't know a whole lot about, but I do know that thing about police reports. Now, I was hoping that Sheriff Cabral would be here tonight, but she isn't. This will lead me sort of to some other stories. But Park tried to throw Andrea Cabral out of a seat one time. I'm really riffing on this poor guy, but he's not here, so who cares? He came down and said, hey, that's the district attorney's seat, and no one's getting anything until you get out of the seat. Now, Andrea at the time was the head of the domestic violence unit in Suffolk County, but I guess Park didn't know that. Now, people who know Andrea, after he insisted she get out of the chair, would realize that it was a high compliment when she called me later and said, that guy's all right, he's a keeper. Now, Andrea, for anyone who knew her before she was sheriff, was a really top-notch prosecutor, which means in a way, like all top-notch lawyers in any firm, she did tremendous damage to the Suffolk County DA's office. Because, just like when you're learning to do cross-examination, and the tape says, never, ever, ever ask a direct question unless you're good enough to ask a direct question, and then every lawyer who sees the tape thinks, I'm good enough. Just like everyone thinks they're an above-average driver. Andrea did a closing argument in a really hard rape case. And I won't go into the details because they're bad. But Andrea stood in front of the jury, and for people who know her, you can see her pulling this off. She looked straight at the jury and she said, okay, if you want to believe this was consensual, if you want to believe that the victim lied, by all means, acquit the defendant. Went on through the evidence, sat down. I mean, it was like a 15-minute guilty from the jury. Every prosecutor in Suffolk all of a sudden thought that they were Andrea Cabral, and the not guilties just started to pile. If you don't believe the victim, acquit! By all means, acquit! Sit down, rubber ball jury for an acquittal. Which makes me think, since I've made fun of some others, which makes me think of one of the worst closing arguments I've ever done. Everyone who's been a prosecutor, who's done a trial, has had the sense that this one's a winner. I mean, there's no way I can blow this, right? Although a drunk driving case in Suffolk County, you can always blow those. I had a guy who had left Jose McIntyre's and hit a flashing arrow sign. You know those things they put up on construction? He lost control of his car, hit the sign hard, they're big, hit the sign hard enough that over it went, spilling diesel fuel. I had no idea they were run on diesel. All over the ground, fire trucks were called and everything else. I thought this one was in the bag, so I might have mailed it in a little on the case. In my closing argument, I said to the jury, very dramatically, I thought, if we pulled down all the shades, if we darkened this room, and if we brought that sign in today, and powered it up, it wouldn't be an arrow flashing. It would be 3 letters, O-U-R. Operating under the influence. I had always heard the expression a cream and sugar jury, where a jury goes in and out so fast you figure they just did it for the free coffee. That closing occasioned a new saying, the rubber ball jury. They were in and out so fast it was as if we had thrown a rubber ball off the jury wall and it had come right back in. And all my colleagues for weeks and weeks would come to me and say, if we could just darken the room and bring in that sign and power it up, it would say, not guilty. I actually did. All right, maybe I've lost some even better cases than that. I'm gonna check my notes. I might wrap up. Is that all right? All right. Then you know what? Since you're still laughing, I'm going to say goodnight. So thank you very much for being a kind audience. Paul Pope, everyone. Paul Pope.
He was good, Judge, he was good. I hope you're that good, because otherwise, I'm just gonna go home, disappointed.